What's going on? You can probably see my big mug.
Not much. How are you? How's the Thursday?
It's going. Almost got an accident about 4 times. But other than that, I'm good, man. How are you?
Oh no, that's not good. I can't complain down in hot Atlanta. So yeah, living it up down here
A-Town.
for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's funny, I'm from Washington though, and I know you are too, so we got that in common.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Where in Washington are you from?
The Vancouver area.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful area.
Yes, wonderful. Right by Portland, can go across the border nice and easy. And so yeah, can't complain there. But
Awesome.
I got to ask you though, like being from that state, everyone says it rains a lot, but I feel like it's not that bad. I feel like it's not as bad as people make it out to be.
Well, and especially in Spokane because there's a mountain range that separates the east side from the west side in Washington. So Spokane's a lot drier. Definitely not as much rain as the Seattle side, but
Right.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely depressing the Seattle side. My sister had to have like a light in her old house because she didn't have enough daylight, and she would get depressed. And she'd like sit in front of this like imaginary sunlight for like a couple hours a day because she was like so sad.
Oh, no. Yeah, that is not great.
That is true. But
Yeah.
her house was just kind of like didn't get a lot of regular natural daylight, so I think that's why.
Right. Yeah. And I guess compared to like everywhere else, it is more than everywhere else, mostly like, so it is what it is. Yeah.
So what's
But
going on, man?
not much, not much. Just, here to chat with you, see how things are with you. I mean, I guess how was it coaching tough? I mean, that was a fun thing, I'm sure for you as how you got in the UFC and all that. How was it?
Coaching tough was awesome. It was something that I always wanted to do and check off my bucket list. I think that the biggest thing for me is I love to be in control, and I am like a Madonna, like very bossy. Like I like to be in charge, and I like to, when they say, "Hey, you're the one that's delegating things," I was like, "Say less." So I was really happy to be in that position. But more than anything, the show is requiring me to find stars, find the next up and coming UFC stars, find the diamonds in the rough, and that was a really fun opportunity for me that I got to do.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I mean, did it go as you expected? I mean, obviously being in the coaching role, a lot different from the actual fighter role, but how was, did it meet your expectations? I guess just how everything played out.
Yeah, it did. They had it a lot easier than we did on our season. For example, the drivers would let them listen to music all the time. They got to watch the UFC fights when the UFC fights were going on. Their time in the house was shorter. There was a lot of things that they were so strict with us on that they got a lot of leeway with. And so it was a quite contrast. I mean, after the 30 seasons, you know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
they it's kind of like a cookie cutter process. You just got to follow the recipe at that point, and they can kind of makeshift things the way that they, want to, and be more lenient in some areas where they weren't lenient in others with my season. But It was nice. I think the biggest contrast I saw in my coaching versus being a contestant on the show is I got to go home every night. I got to hang out with my team. I got to, be with my baby and watch TV, for example. There was tons of things that I got the opportunity to do. Meanwhile, they're, stuck in prison basically. So
Yeah, definitely. That's always a good luxury to have. I mean, that's kind of the thing people fear going into tough is being cut off from the world, right? It's no fun. So, and I think it's really cool though that you got to do this in the first place because obviously you were the first, woman to win an Ultimate Fighter and be on the first season and all that, and then getting to coach the women again. Like from your perspective, Julianna, like how important would you say that the Ultimate Fighter has ended up being like for women in MMA history, just to be able to have this kind of option and all that?
It's a launching pad. It's a starting point. It's a thing that gets people comfortable with cameras in your face, gets you used to the bright lights. It gets you used to the whole production and value of the show and the UFC in general. You know, most people, when they get to the ultimate or to the UFC, that they've never been there before, they're out of their element. They don't know what's going on. They've never been interviewed by cameras that often, and so they end up having a little bit of a difficulty getting used to the whole production value and realizing how big the company is. The Ultimate Fighter for me got me used to people in my face, cameras everywhere, following me, and just knowing how to cut and paste my interviews and stuff, if you will. Sorry, excuse the
all good.
the hang up of driving and trying to deal with, you know, a little toddler in the back there screaming her balls off while I'm trying to
mom life.
Stop. Please. It gets them used to, you know, the big stage.
Of course. Obviously taking on Nunes for the rematch here, who you're coaching against. Like, I don't know if you saw, but she said she was surprised by your lack of trash talk on the season. And, you know, when I saw that, I was kind of thinking like, well, you know, she's the champ now. Like, what more do you got to say? Right. So I don't know. Just curious if you saw that and what you thought of it.
Yeah, no, you know, I find it like, I feel two ways about it. You know, there's obviously she considers what I was doing or what I was saying shit talk. But to me, I wasn't. I was legitimately telling my truth of everything that has happened to me in my career. When, you know, I said that she promised to fight me at UFC 200 and that this fight has been brewing for 5 years. Like, she might view that as crap talk, but that's legitimately what happened in my career when she said that she would fight me and then chose to fight somebody else and then chose to fight somebody else and then chose to fight somebody else multiple times. That's not me shit talking. That's just me bringing light to what has happened with me in my career. And so, you know, she was saying that I was shit talking, but it was like everything that I was saying was actually a fact and something that has been factual for me in my career and the way that it's played out for me. So it was like, I wasn't talking shit. It was just my truth. And then all the other stuff that she said, like, oh, I didn't shit talk and that I was trying to get people to want to like me or something like that. I'm like, no, I've done the show before, so I kind of know how the production goes. But with that being said, I already beat you. You haven't been submitted. You hadn't been stopped. You had this title reign of the GOAT, and you got embarrassed, and you got so frustrated that you fired your entire team. You quit your gym that you've been at for 10 years. You had to go see a sports psychologist. Like, why kick a dog when it's down? You know what I mean? Like, that's just not my style. That's not my character. And I already know how much it hurt her. I'm not trying to pour salt on the wounds. Like, she wants me to burn the church down too. It's just like, it's good. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I already did my trash talking in the ring. You know what I mean? And so it was like, there's nothing really more for me to say. Not to mention, if you've been watching the season, I'm killing her. You know what I mean? I'm killing her. Like, they can't string a couple wins together to save their lives. They're just literally not winning on the show either. So it's like, what more do you want me to say? It's like, just, I feel bad. Like, not to say that I am going to hold back by any means, right, in the rematch, but it's just like, I don't want to be this, you know, cocky, arrogant prick that I'm just constantly just poking you while
bullying,
you're down.
Right?
Yeah. That's just not who I am, you know? So almost like most people would be thankful, but she like wants me to like razz her, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's not. And then when I saw that she was like trying to talk crap to me on the show, I thought that was funny because I was like, I didn't hear that she had said anything. It was literally all just, every time she was talking crap, it was like they had to subtitle it and she was talking underneath her breath. And like, I didn't know that she was talking crap to me. It's like, if you got something to say, I'm right here. Say it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll definitely, you know, I will engage with you, but like, I didn't even know you said anything.
Right.
Like, it wasn't very obvious, I guess.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, do you think that's kind of her wanting to use that as like a motivation, like needing that? I mean, so all these factors you mentioned, like, I mean, just how many differences are you expecting from her this time around, you know?
I'm expecting a million differences from her, you know? She went back to the team that, you know, got her win with Ronda Rousey. she closed off her camp. She went back and watched that film and saw a lot of great things that she did in the first fight. She saw a ton of successful things that she had done very well. So I can imagine that she's going to look at that and say, okay, this is what I did really well. This is where I messed up, and try to go fix all of those errors that she made. And I imagine that, before they said, this is the best Amanda Nunes that you've ever seen in your entire life. She showed up at the weigh-ins, or she showed up at the press conference all naked. She wanted to show everybody how hard she was working. And I expected the best Amanda Nunes that there ever was on that night. Now, this time, this is going to be the best Amanda Nunes that we've ever seen. Now, this time is the one that it's going to be out of this world, incredible, amazing. And so I'm ready for it. I am absolutely ready for it. Anything and everything. I promise you, on July 30th, I am coming. I am coming.
So like with that in mind, I think a lot of people will think like, oh man, how does she top that? That crazy upset, beating the quote unquote GOAT, like how do you possibly top that? But with everything you just said, like, is it just as simple as, all right, this win, beat her twice in a row? Like, that's a pretty good way to do it.
Well, it's offensive. She literally doesn't believe that it happened. She doesn't want to admit that it happened. She wants to make every single excuse that she can so that she can tell herself and sleep at night that that's not the reality of what happened, so that it can get her up in the morning so that she can go and perform the next time and the next go around. So she doesn't believe that it happened. She's not accepting it. And it's offensive because I did everything that I said I was going to do. I said I was going to do this, and then I went out and I did it, and you're still not accepting it. Possession is 9/10 of the law. This belt is mine. So come and get it. Malon lave. Come and get it. Like, you want this? You want me to drop my swords? Come and take them. I'm ready.
Yeah, there we go. Perfectly said. And I mean, we got to talk about the NFT business, though, Julianna. To kind of jump shifts here, I'm very curious about it because tell me about it a little bit. First of all, the super fan NFTs you got coming out, but you have a fan in your corner? Is that what's going on for this? That's kind of a crazy idea.
Yes. So NFTs, non-fungible token, these things are taking over the planet right now. And this is people's opportunities, super fans' opportunities to be a part of my fan club. Basically, you're going to get to see exclusive video content, pictures, things that there's a lot of stuff. There's a ton of stuff that I don't share on my social media. And it's probably because I'm more on the reserved private end.
Right.
But if these people join my super fan club, they're going to get to see behind the scenes access, things that nobody gets the opportunity to see, really special stuff that like I want to be able to share with people that are actually truly a part of my fan club, that are actually really down for me 110%. People that are committed to buying this and being my fan. And I'll know that because they'll be a part of it. They'll be a member. One lucky member on this special drop will get the opportunity to walk out to the octagon with me. This has never happened before. They're literally going to get to experience being in the back room, walking out to the corner, being in my corner, and basically being there and experiencing it in real time. The only thing that they're not going to have to do is get punched in the face.
Right.
And this has never been done before. So it's just an amazing opportunity for one lucky super fan to join me in my NFT experience by being a part of this membership.
So is it like random, or how does the person get decided?
I have a team, and together we're gonna, go over who wins. I think it's a raffle, I believe. Okay. And whoever wins the raffle is good. It's going to be that member, all pending that they pass the background check.
Right.
But yeah, aside from that, it's going to be a raffle, and someone's gonna, once it drops, it's going to hit. Today is actually the pre-minting. Okay. Today is the pre-mint. So you can, sign up early today. And then on Monday is all access. It's going to drop. Everyone's going to have availability for it, or it's going to be available for everyone, on Monday. And we're going to get this thing up and running.
Yeah, very exciting. And they can also visit your camp. Is that true? Or something like that?
There's going to be all sorts of stuff. I'm going to have a cigar club. I'm going to have all sorts of stuff. I mean, honestly, it's going to be, exploding with all sorts of good stuff. Yeah, people can join me in a camp. People can train with me. People can take me to the movies if they want. They can decide, color underwear I wear for the fight, like what walkout song I'll be walking out to. So it's going to be all sorts of stuff where my fans are going to have more of a say in kind of the day-to-day stuff of what's going on in my life, and have that special access of what it's like to walk around and be around with a UFC champion.
Wow. So was that kind of hard for you to, think about at first? Because, you said kind of private. So letting people in that way, was it difficult to get to this point?
Yes. In fact, it still weirds me out. But like I gave it a shot the other day, and I was like, what shirt should I wear? Notorious B.I.G. or Metallica? And the fans said Notorious B.I.G. So the next day I wore the Notorious B.I.G. shirt. I'm like, I guess this is going to be how it is, like what color should I paint my nails, but it's kind of cool because, to be quite honest, aside from my daughter and aside from my daily camp, I'm pretty lonely, you know what I mean? So to be able to like interact with my fans and kind of have them a part of my daily life, I think it's going to be pretty cool, and it's going to be welcomed just because, I'm bored. I have no balance in my life besides fighting and my daughter. So if I can get a little bit of, some input from some people that truly, truly care about me and want what's best for me, then yeah, I'm going to listen and I'm going to welcome that. And it's actually kind of exciting.
Yeah, it certainly makes things a lot more fun in like a very unique way. So it should be a unique experience for you, no doubt, as it continues on. Very cool. But of course, we want to talk about some other MMA stuff too, Julianna, because I know, speaking of like how do you top the Nunes win and everything, I know that you've at least entertained the idea of a potential Valentina rematch a little bit at some point. And I mean, I'm sure that you saw her fight this past weekend against Taila Santos, which was one that many people think maybe she lost. So first of all, I'm just curious. So did you see that fight, and how did you score it?
Yes, I saw the fight. I thought Taila won with one eye, and she still didn't get the fight. So that sucks. But make no mistake, and please hear me very clearly, I have a beast ahead of me. Yes. When they say you got bigger fish to fry, I quite literally have bigger fish to fry. Valentina is not in my sights right now. We can talk about building legacies later. Right now, my legacy is to dethrone Amanda Nunes and to get that win and get my hand raised at any and all costs at UFC 277.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, because you've got to do that to get to the other stuff, right? So totally is on point there. But just as for like the bantamweight division too, and sticking kind of with the scoring thing, I'm sure you saw Ketlen Vieira versus Holm too, and that one was also controversial for a lot of people. And it kind of spurred the open scoring debate. So I'm curious, how do you feel about that, and like, what do you think of that fight too?
So I unfortunately didn't watch that fight. I still haven't watched it. I kind of just relied on my coaches to tell me who they thought truly won. And I will say, I don't know if I'm a fan of open scoring yet, or I don't know if it's like actually amazing. I just think, it's got to be some added pressure when you see that you lost the round, and it's going to kind of light a fire under your butt, and make you get going. So maybe the fights will be more exciting. I don't know if that's the whole reason behind it. To be quite honest, the judges can't seem to get it right anyhow, regardless whether it's open scoring or not open scoring. And it's a hard job. I totally sympathize with them on that, because it is difficult. It's almost like you're playing God in there, and you have, control of other people's lives. So it's a really big ask for them to get it right every time. But as far as the bantamweight division goes, there's other things still in my mind as far as, when it comes to rematches and revenge and stuff like that. For example, when I got on The Ultimate Fighter, Sarah Moras had beat me in my hometown. She broke my arm. I really wanted that rematch, and I ended up, and she didn't tap me, but I wanted that rematch, and I ended up submitting her, and I made her tap, and that really was a big one for me. As far as after beating Amanda, there's other rematches that I really would like, and Valentina is one of them, like you mentioned, and Jermaine Durandyman is another one, like you mentioned. So for me, it's like I would much rather have those be my next one so that I can avenge those losses, as opposed to talking about other fights. That is on my to-do list first.
Of course.
Amanda,
of course. Yes.
Valentina, Jermaine.
Get them back. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you're very multi-talented though, Julianna. Like, you've done the commentary as well. I don't know when the last time you did it was, but are you hoping to do some of that again in the future? Maybe hold it till after the career now that you're champ and all that, but do you like doing that kind of thing?
I love it, and I absolutely will do it again. I have all of my. I'm 100% on board with the Combate Global family, and I'll be back on air after this fight. You know,
Okay.
they had me scheduled last month, and I in the last second turned it down just because all I care about is fighting, and it's like I don't want to be sitting in the octagon being like, I wish I wouldn't have gone to Miami to commentate, and I wish I would have stayed home to train more. You know, I don't want that to be factoring into my mind, you know? So I've literally had to turn down, you know, so many offers, ridiculousness, the SBs, commentating, just so that I could focus on this fight, because that is first and foremost my priority. After July 30th, I'm going to have all sorts of Zoom calls with all sorts of people. I'm going to be going everywhere, trust me. And commentating is absolutely going to be back on the table for me.
Yeah, and well earned too. So very exciting options to have, no doubt about it. But if you never got into MMA, what do you think you'd be doing right now?
Well, I'd probably be the world's greatest server.
Okay.
I've always been in the service industry, and I loved being a waitress. I loved when people would come into my restaurant and I had the opportunity to take care of them and to, you know, be like, give them the shirt off my back, welcome to my house, and serve them the best food ever. But that's actually the only thing that I know aside from fighting. So it's hard for me to say that. Thank God for fighting, right? But at the same time, you know, it didn't bother me to be a server. I love to get all dolled up and get all pretty and then go smile faces and make people happy with the food and with the service. I was a fantastic waitress. But to be quite honest, I did want to go back to school. When I was young, I didn't pursue the education, and I should have. It would have been nice to get a degree in maybe being a lawyer, or maybe in law enforcement, maybe like getting something like so that I could be a detective or something like that, because I feel like in law, or in like being either a lawyer or being like a detective or being in law enforcement, you know, bodyguard, security, something like that, almost feel like that would have been a really great career choice for me as well. Because I mean, I could argue with the best of them. I really can.
Well, thankfully, I don't have to worry about that. So it's all worked out just fine. But that's a great way to wrap up too. But I appreciate it so much. Very excited for the fight. Very excited for everything you got going on. You know, fellow Washingtonian. So I'm fairly biased, but I appreciate it greatly, and excited to see this whole NFT thing kind of unfold. You know, because it is a very cool thing that you're going there. So. Yeah, just wish you the best of luck with the rest of training camp and all that. And I appreciate it so much. You taking the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day.
Yes, you too, Julianna.
Bye-bye.